Hello, friends. Sleep Tight Stories, Sleep Tight Relax, and Sleep Tight Science are now available to play on Story Button, the device that makes it easy to listen to our shows and more without having to use a phone or tablet. This month, you can save $10 at storybutton.com when you use the code SLEEPTIGHT. Story Button, the home of imagination. Hello, friends, and welcome to Sleep Tight Stories. In this story, Kitty goes to Prince Street School and is trying to convince her mother that she is old enough to walk to school by herself. Her mother agrees and reminds her to be careful and remember not to go on Alley Street. When Kitty tells her friends she is going to walk to school alone the next day, they also warn her about the dog on Alley Street. Will Kitty remember not to take Alley Street? Kitty the cat and Brutus the dog. Kitty and her mama were walking down Prince Street on the way to school. It was a beautiful sunny morning, and Kitty always wanted to be early so that she could spend some time talking to her friends and help the teacher if she needed help. It took her time to get used to getting up so early. She had the comfiest bed in the whole wide world. But now that she was in the habit, she enjoyed the extra time before class started. Besides, her papa would always tell her, "You are either early or you are late. There is no on time." Kitty didn't quite understand where on time went to. Her teachers always said it was important, but her father was even more serious than her teachers when it came to punctuality. "Mama, I packed my own bag this morning," she said as they were walking down the street. "I noticed that. You are doing very well at packing your bag," her mama replied. "I also brushed my hair just right and put on my ribbon this morning, Mama." "You look very nice this morning, Kitty. I even noticed that you washed all the milk off your whiskers." "I'm growing up, Mama, and being very responsible." "You certainly are," her mama replied with a grin. As they got closer to school, Kitty said to her mama, I think I am old enough to walk myself to school now, too. I don't need your help. We have walked to school together many, many times, and I know the way, and the other cats walk by themselves." "I see." Kitty's mama was wondering where this conversation was going. "Well, you have a point, Kitty. If you promise to be careful, maybe we can try it tomorrow morning. How does that sound?" "That sounds great, Mama. Thank you. Gotta go. I see my friends Fluffy, Cooper, and Bella. Love you, Mama." "Love you, too." And Kitty ran off to join her friends, who were just about to go inside the school. "Good morning, Fluffy," Kitty said. "You will never guess what." "You had that fish-infused milk for breakfast that everyone is talking about?" Fluffy replied. "No, not yet. My papa doesn't like to jump on trends, he says, so we haven't bought it yet. But my mama said I can walk to school tomorrow morning all by myself." "Finally! Kitty, that's good news. Now you can be like us big kittens." "Remember to not walk down Alley Street," Cooper said, coming up behind them as they stood in the doorway to school. "I don't walk down Alley Street, but what's wrong with going that way?" Kitty asked. "Well, there is a big bad dog there, and he has a reputation for chasing cats," Fluffy said. "That's not what I heard." Bella said, joining them after sharpening her claws on a nearby tree. "What did you hear?" Kitty asked. "I heard this dog is so big and scary that when you look at him, you turn to stone, and the only thing that can cure you is being groomed by a Norwegian forest cat," Bella said. "I've never met that kind of cat before," Kitty said. "Exactly, so you better be careful." "Okay, kids, stop mulling about the doorway and come inside and go to your classrooms," Principal Breezy said as she came outside to usher all the stragglers inside lest they become strays. The next morning, Kitty hopped out of bed, excited to be walking to school all by herself. "You are up early this morning, Kitty. I haven't even had a chance to finish your breakfast yet," her mama said, surprised. "That's okay, Mama. I'm just super excited about walking to school today, and the weather outside looks super nice, too." "Yes, it's going to be a nice day, I think," her mama said, pouring some warm cream into her bowl. "Would you like tuna or salmon for breakfast this morning?" "Tuna, please." After breakfast, Kitty washed her face and made sure her ribbon was on just right. She triple-checked her school bag, making sure that all her homework was ready and that she had her snack for later. "I'm all ready to go, Mama," she said from the front door. "Are you sure that you want to walk by yourself?" "Yes, Mama. I'm grown up now. I can walk to school by myself." "Okay, but make sure that you do not go down Alley Street. There is a mean dog there, and I have heard some scary stories about him." "Don't worry, Mama. I know all about the dog, and we never went that way anyway, right?" "That's right. I just worry about you. Wait right here before you go," her mama said, rushing to get her camera. "Mama, you don't need to take my picture." "Of course I do. My little kitten is growing up so fast." "Love you, Mama." "Love you too." Kitty bounded down the walkway of their house and quickly walked down the sidewalk toward school. She could see that her mama was still watching her in the distance, and so she was determined to show her how responsible she was. She came to the crosswalk and waited for the walk sign, waited a moment longer when it was okay to walk, looked both ways, and crossed the street. When she walked down the street a little farther, there were a number of trucks blocking the sidewalk. Her mother told her to never walk on the street, and since she could see her school just up ahead, she took a different side street to get there. "I'm growing up," she thought. "I can even think on my paws." As she walked up the street, she saw immediately in front of her what looked like a large bush, or perhaps a pile of garbage bags. But as she got closer and the mass became clearer, she realized what it was. It was a dog, a big, muscular dog. "Oh no," she thought, "I must have gone down Alley Street." Then she heard a deep growl and she froze. "Oh no, what should I do?" The large bulldog came closer and closer, drool dripping out from his mouth. Kitty was super scared and couldn't make her little legs move, but she said ever so quietly, "Oh, please, big scary dog, please don't hurt me." Just then, the dog came up to her, licked her on the head, and said in a voice too small for his size, "Hurt you? Why would I ever do that, little one?" With a wet forehead, Kitty replied, "So you won't scare me or chase me or anything bad like that?" No, of course not. I'm a good dog. Well, I guess I look scary, and it's my job to protect this neighborhood, so sometimes I bark, but I never bite. Relieved, Kitty relaxed. So I guess you aren't the dog that everyone warned me about? I suppose I could be. Unfortunately, because I have such a scary look, others think the worst. And I guess I do have a scary bark, too. It gets kind of lonely here on Alley Street. Don't you have any friends to talk to or keep you company? No. Too many cats are scared of me, and the dogs, too. When I was a pup, I had some friends, but they all moved away after they graduated from school. I'm the only one in my class still here. Oh, that's too bad. My name is Kitty, and I go to Prince Street School. I'm pleased to meet you, Kitty. My name is Brutus. I went to Prince Street not too many years ago. Is Principal Breezy still telling kids to stop hanging around the school doors and go to class before they become strays? Kitty laughed. Yes, she is. I guess she hasn't changed. Well, Brutus, I can't be late for school, so I better get going. It was nice to meet you. Yes, you better hurry. It's best to be early. It was nice to meet you too, Kitty. She arrived at school early and raced down to her classroom where her friends were just about to take their seats. Guys, guess what? You finally convinced your papa to buy tuna-infused milk for you to try? Cooper asked. No, I went down Alley Street by mistake and I met the dog, and his name is Brutus. Fluffy, Cooper, and Bella all gasped at the same time. Are you injured? Did he scare you? Did you hiss? No, he is a nice dog. He just looks scary, that's all. We should all go and say hello sometime. Fluffy, Cooper, and Bella didn't look so convinced and worried that Kitty must be suffering from trauma. That day after school, Kitty told her mama all about Brutus and his undeserved reputation for being mean. Because he looks a certain way, people are scared of him, Mama. That doesn't seem fair. No, it isn't, her mama replied. Will you come with me tomorrow when I go to school? You could meet Brutus and maybe we could all be friends. He seems lonely because everyone is scared of him. Sure, Kitty. I will walk with you to school in the morning. I'd like to meet Brutus. The next morning, Kitty and her mama walked to school. Instead of the usual route that they took, they walked down Alley Street to where Brutus would sit outside guarding the houses on the street. Wow, he certainly has a look, doesn't he? Kitty's mama said when she saw him in the distance. You sure he's friendly? She said with a laugh. Bounding down the street, drool pouring out of his mouth, Brutus came up to Kitty and her mama and said in his small, squeaky voice, Good morning, Kitty, and you must be Kitty's mama. After a short talk, Kitty's mama said to Brutus, I would have to talk to Principal Breezy first, but how would you like to help the younger kittens and pups in the morning? Well, I do have some free time, he replied. After some convincing and an interview with Brutus, Principal Breezy announced that Brutus was to become the new crossing guard for Prince Street School. Every day, Brutus would walk the kittens and pups up Alley Street and safely across the street to school. It took a while for the kids to get used to being around such a large dog, but eventually, they would pull on his ears and tail, just like any other big dog. Brutus was lonely no more. And that's the end of our story. Good night. Sleep tight.